She is our multifamily guru. So I know some of you guys have been submitting leads to multifamily, and Jen's the person that looks at those. So she is mostly, her zone of genius is multifamily. Mine is more single family. So she was focusing on that for a while. And then we're like, we miss Jen. And Jen's like, I miss you guys. So she's back in on our calls. And we actually will keep doing these, but we won't be here on Wednesday. Jen, do you want to talk about where we're going, what we want to be doing, and what we'll be doing on Wednesday when we're not here?
Yeah, so we had an opportunity to go and participate in basically like an immersive 4 days with a large multifamily operator in the US. And we are going to go and learn how to do fund to funds, how to take our creative financing knowledge and apply it to larger multifamily projects in the US and just grow our multifamily portfolio in the US.
Yeah. So we get to hang out with Vina Jetty and learn from her for 4 days. So we won't be here on Wednesday, but we'll come back. And that's not to say that like if you've been doing what we're doing and we're doing single family and creative, that's not going away. We'll still be doing that. We're just gonna push forward a little bit more in the multifamily in the United States. So what else were we gonna talk about? So also because we don't have the Elephant Challenge group, the circle anymore, as you guys all know, that's gone and dead. So we'll be communicating with everyone. And if anybody wants any communication, we have a Facebook group that we haven't been using as much, but we're going to start using more. And we're going to start just like being like, hey, reminder, this is when our Zooms are, just like we did for Circle, put all of our stuff in there. It's also building an empire.group too. www, I think that works, or building an empire.group. Will you check that, Jen?
Yeah.
I'm going to type it. I can't remember what I did it to, but she's also put in there in the page. Oh no, that's what, if you want to get on, that's not our group. What's that you just posted? Will you let them know?
So that is basically you can subscribe to our email list. So that way you'll get email notifications about events, opportunities to invest with us, email reminders about our live phone calls like what you're on right now, everything like that.
Oh,
Building an empire.group work.
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So building an empire.group, that's our Facebook group. We can all communicate there if you have questions. We put things before like, I don't know, like what's a deal and lists and stuff like that. So you'll find all of that there. Yes, it's Building an Empire State of Mind is our podcast name and our Elephant Challenge group. And so it's all kind of just built off that. So anyways, what else were we going to talk about, Jen, for announcements before we get this party started?
I think that was it. Oh, frequently asked questions. Is that what you said? Or that was that.
Have done. Oh, I know what we were going to talk about. So we are going through all of your guys's leads meeting, but just want to let you guys know that we have to. Jen is our amazing integrator, and she makes that form go and makes all that stuff. And she's going to make this a little bit better. But when you guys submit deals, we don't need deals from other wholesalers. So that's just going to be daisy chaining it. Like, so somebody's been like, oh, well, this other wholesaler has it tied up because we're going to wholesale it. So if you wholesale a wholesale deal, it's something you can do. It's called daisy chaining, but it's not ideal for anyone. If the wholesaler needs help dispoing it, we can help them, but we're not going to lock up a deal with the wholesaler who already has a deal. So we've had a few of those that they've gotten off in InvestorLift. Also, we need so much more information than we're getting on a lot of these. People will be like, some people will just copy and paste the Zillow description. I don't know if we need to know the 4 pillars. Have you talked to the agent? Are they open to creative? What have you talked about? What are their pain points? So if you guys are doing that, I will not go and call something that just has a copy and paste of a Zillow form. Like you guys need to talk to them first. I need a lot of information. I need as much information that's in your brain. So Jen is going to make it so they're going to be required fields. So did you talk to the agent? Yes. What did they say? 4 pillars: timeline, motivation, condition, price at the very minimum. That being said, that's not everyone, but just a heads up, you guys do have to talk to them. You can't just copy and paste it being a seller finance, motivated, open to terms, something in the Zillow listing, and then you just send it to me and no one's ever talked to them. So it's not the majority of them, but I've seen a lot of those. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that.
Hey, Carly.
Yeah.
This is Rosie.
Hi.
Hey, hi. My first time here. I missed the first few all last week. So how do you want us to send them to you? Because I've been doing like message on Facebook.
Yes. elephant.aurorainvests.com is the best way.
Okay.
Send them to me on Facebook. It's going to get lost. You guys, since the Elephant Challenge ended, I have 150 unread messages from people being like,
I didn't know it ended.
It's okay. It's okay. So elephant.aurorainvest.com is, Jen just put it in the chat, is the best place to send us to them.
Okay. I'll go ahead and copy that and send that to you now, because I have a really good one.
Yes.
They're in foreclosure.
I remember you in the DMs. But if you get it to there, I promise you it's a lot. It's going to get responded to.
Okay, I'll go ahead and just copy it, because I just put it in there a little while ago. I did talk to the agent and all that, and their auction date is November the 7th. So I got all that info. So, and I went ahead and checked my resources because I'm a realtor here as well. So I was able to look and see how much their balance is and all that.
Yeah.
So, as close as possible.
Were you the one that sent me something that had they were in foreclosure and they had $83,000 in arrears?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw that one. I looked at that just a minute. And it's like a $350,000 house or something.
Well, they're trying to get 379 for it, is what it's listed for. But I think that, they're willing. I think it sounds like they're willing to negotiate and talking to the realtor, because they said they just don't want somebody to lowball them. They said, but bring us an offer. They just want to get out of it, and they're not asking for any cash up front.
Yes. Yes. Will you put that in there and I'll go look at it? I was like, oh my God, that's going to be a rough one, because it's going to be a high cost of entry for whoever buys it, but it's a good one. Yeah. It's like a 3.5% rate. So
yes.
I remember that one. And
it's in good condition. It looks like it has different color rooms on the second floor. So maybe a paint job, but it has the builder grade cabinets and all that, but it looks like it's in good shape.
Yes.
And if you want me to send you the link so you can see the pictures, I can do that as well. Oh, it's on Privy, so you can probably see it.
Yeah. And if you can just give me all the information you have in there, we just have a tell me all you know, and then people put 2 sentences. So if you can just put all the links, all the information, you were they're behind 87,000. They want 375. Here's the link, everything that you have in your brain, just put in that little form, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And I'll look at those. I really focus on those on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. And do you guys have any other questions? I'm going to just, Jen and I are putting together something. I say this every time and we haven't done it yet. Prereqs before you get here, how you find deals, how to pick your market and everything. So we'll get those for those of you that are really new, but for those of you that have been here, do you guys have any questions? Do you guys want to go over anything in particular? Comments, concerns?
I did have a question.
Yeah.
So I was talking to a realtor last week, one of the agents, and so on the house, she was familiar with somebody had offered to do kind of a seller finance where they come in and the seller is the finance, but she said that the person that she talked to was going to offer, I put some notes, like 4% simple interest, but they wanted to have them carry it for 10 years. And I was just curious, what is that kind of standard? Because I am pretty new, so I don't, I'm still learning a lot of this, but what's kind of is that low, or what is there kind of a average standard where if you're doing seller finance, what that simple interest would be and time frame of when that's usually paid off or how long it goes for?
So what I like to do, and everyone is different. I like to say, listen, I'm not going to mess around with interest, but I will pay you over your asking price. And so if they want $300,000, be like, I'll give you 320 and just tack it onto the end. It's just easier. Everyone is different. It depends. A lot of people, some people are like, I want 8% interest because that's what the banks are doing. And then we'll be like, absolutely not. So there's not like really a go-to on
Okay.
that. It just depends on every deal is literally different. So it depends on the deal. It depends on their motivation. It depends on their pain. Depends on how long they want to carry it, all those things.
Okay.
I mean, if they want to do simple and if they want to put interest in there, they can, but we might not pay their price. I mean, it's all levers that you can pull with creative finance and sub two. And we like to say, just to keep it easy, we'll pay your price. We will pay for the realtor if it's on market. We'll pay for the closing costs. Just give us terms. And we kind of hope to sweeten the deal with that. It just gets messy when you get interest put in there. And what's nice is if we decide, let's say we do a 30-year loan or something super long and we have 4% interest and he thinks he's going to get all this money over 30 years and something happens and we have to sell it, then he's screwed, right? Out of all that interest he would have gotten over 30 years.
Right.
So there's different ways to go about it. I like to do the higher price, and then even if we do sell it early, they're not screwed out of their extra money they were going to get.
Okay. So if they're going to carry the loan, a lot of times pay above what they're asking, and then depending on how it goes, you might sell or refinance it early or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So
I've got a question.
yeah.
So I have Privy. I watched some videos on how to comp with Privy,
Mhm.
but how do you get rental comps, or to find out how much a place can rent for?
The best way is you call a property manager or few in that city. Let's say if it's in Cleveland, go on Google and look up Cleveland property managers, look at the ones with like the most reviews and like that look like the most legit, and then call them and be like, hey, I'm thinking about buying this 123 Main Street. Can you just take a look at it and tell me what you think it would rent for? I'm just trying to run some numbers. That's the best way. Privy also has rental comps. Zillow also has it. There's Rentometer. But really the best thing is to call a property manager in that area, call 3 of them and get what their percentage they take out of it is. Usually it's 10%. And how much they would, if you were to hire them, how much they would advertise it for.
As well as try and find out like what their take is on the vacancy in the area as well.
Yes, good one.
Okay, awesome.
And vacancy is, Jen, will you explain what vacancy is?
Basically, like it's a percentage. What you usually use like a percentage of your total rent that you would be bringing in from the building. So like some places have 0% vacancy because you can turn units over so quickly, but you still want to allow for the vacancy in your underwriting. Whereas if maybe you're going into a market, it not as highly sought after, and maybe their true like percentage of vacancy is like 8 to 10. You want to know those kinds of things for your underwriting.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, great questions. Any other questions? We have 26 people in here now. I'm glad that you guys made it. I just put our group thing in here. So if you guys want to join it, get announcements and fun little things that we'll put in there. Any other questions before we move on? You guys are so quiet. Did everybody go to the last elephant challenge? Is there anybody that didn't? Alice, that's a good thing. Oh, Lynn, it was your last and first. I'm sad that it's over. You guys, did you guys watch that last day on the how to present yourself from fraud? That was really
Yes.
good too. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what we can do today is we can go over. Is there anything that you want to go over, Jen? Why don't you tell us what you're looking for, if they are, is anybody here looking at multifamilies? Or doing any of those things, portfolios, land?
No, but would like to know what to ask if we run across. one.
So when you submit something, Jen, what is something that you want to multifamily wise, like what is a good one? Picking your markets. Is it different from single family? What do you want? What kind of stuff do you need to analyze a deal when they submit it to us at elephant.aurorainvest.com?
I would say that all of the like how to find your market and everything like that is exactly the same. You want to stay in the red states where people are buying, people have an easy time renting to tenants. In terms of the information you need, you want to be asking the brokers or the agents who are listing the deals, or sometimes they have what they call an operating memorandum, and that's basically like a fancy brochure they put together about the property, which is great. But what you really want past that is what we call T12s, and that's essentially like the trailing previous 12 months. And then you want to see their rent roll. And then that really helps us determine like what the current value of the building is, as well as like where there can be cost savings, rent improvements, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And I'm just texting someone. We also got, I don't know if I told you guys last time. Rick is no longer on our team. And so we have two new people on our team, Shane and Seth. I just gave them the link if they wanted to jump in. Just so you guys know, they might be reaching out to you. They are our closers. So I'm not a closer. I can get the ball rolling. And when they're like, no, then I'm like, go talk to my boss. I call them so they feel like they're talking to somebody more important. And Shane and Seth are going to start reviving some of your leads. So you might hear from them, but Naz says, yes, I'm looking at a small trailer park, 7 units. Ask the T12 to the agents if they don't have it, just an expense sheet. So that happens a lot, right, Jen?
Yeah, especially for smaller like owner operator buildings for sure. And an expense sheet is great. I mean, they should still, I mean, we're in October. So even if you see the expenses for 2023, you're going to have a pretty clear indication of how the building sits.
Yeah. So she can still work it. As much information as you can get. It's usually those ma and pa ones, the trailer parks, the RV parks. We've had a few of those.
Yeah.
She needs, yeah. So, but any information, if you can just like put it in a Google Drive and just share the link for her to look at it, would probably be the best way. So absolutely. And then, let's see, what else? I'm kind of wondering.
For the multifamily stuff, are we still doing seller finance or creative only with those? Okay,
Yeah, I think the other one to add to that for multifamily is definitely assumable mortgages.
assumable, okay.
Yeah, that is the other one I would add into.
I can definitely start looking at those too. I had no idea about the parameters or what to look for, but yeah, I can totally start looking at those as well.
Cool.
And so that's a good point. So if you are looking at multifamily, assumable is a go. But if you're looking at single family, it's not a go. Because multifamily is a whole business in its own. So the bank looks at the business, the rent rolls, the T12s, all those things as a business. Single families, they are not looked at as a business, even if they have been run as a business.
Mhm.
So when they look at the multifamilies, it looks at the businesses' tax information and income. When you look at single families, they look at the buyers. So it would be like mine or yours. And we don't want to go to the bank. That's why we want to do creative, which is sub 2, taking over the mortgage, or seller finance. A lot of people and agents, you guys will talk to agents and they'll be like, oh yeah, it's an assumable mortgage. And assumable mortgage and sub 2 are two different things. Assumable is you go to the bank and you're like, hi, I want to take this over. Here's my taxes. Here's my W-2s. Here's my W-4s, whatever all those tax forms are. They look at their taxes. They look at your bank account. They vet you as a person, just like if you were going to the bank, which we don't want to have that on our credit. We want it to carry someone else to carry that credit. So,
And in
So-
multifamily, like right now, assumable is actually a huge asset, because if someone got that loan in like 2020 or 2021, when interest rates were so long or so low, that is actually like, you'll pay more for a building to get that low interest rate than having to go to a bank. So with the
Mhm.
building qualifying, technically it should be able to qualify in the next person's business, because it's the building that qualified and it's the building that's requalifying. So assumable and multifamily is yes, please.
So
yes.
Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so were the rates in commercial or multifamily, were they about the same as they were around the same time in 2020 for single family?
They're usually a couple of points higher, but because you're spreading it over so many more units, it's not really a big deal.
But it was a
They
good
were
rate
still,
at that
they were
point.
still low in terms of like commercial rates during those times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
We should make a little thing that says like single family. And like, because I have what does a deal look like for single family? We should have you put one for multifamily. Like one of them is like no assumable loans. I'll look that up and I'll share it with you guys in the chat. Let me see if I can find it. And it will also, it's really helpful. So, and I'll also put this in our, I'll put this in our group too. This is where I'll start putting all of our stuff going forward. Negotiating, analyze, here it is. Oh, come on, open it. Okay, I'll put this in I'll put this in the chat. And if you guys are watching later on YouTube, I'll put it in our group, which is buildinganempire.group. So that's going to be helpful for you. Jen will add multifamily on there. It's like, what's considered a great deal. Do you guys want to go over this right now? Actually, is there anybody that hasn't gone over this yet?
I don't think I have.
Let's see. Okay. So this is what I just shared with you guys. It's like, what's a good deal? What's a great deal? What's a meh deal? So submit your deals here. There's a list to this. Great deal. So we're wholesaling this, and a great deal has a lower, I need to fix this. This was, this was throwing people off. I had numbers here. Okay. So agent 10% or lower entry fee. So agent commission. Agents, we tell them we will represent ourselves, so they won't represent us. And so they're usually 2.5 to 3% of the sales price. 10% typically. Then we have an assignment fee, no less than $10,000, cash to seller. If there's any arrears are, they have not been paying their bills. So we have to catch them up on their mortgage, like if they're a couple months behind. Closing costs, we usually pay for those too. To be conservative, I say it's about 2% of the sales price. And then what else is good? Sub 4 interest rate. So anything below 4, it cash flows as a long-term rental. It's okay if you don't know this, that's okay. Basically, the way to do this is like, what can you get for a rental? The price, and then you minus that from management fees minus what it costs to run it. So it'll be like the PITI, which is your mortgage rate. I don't know, like if you're going to pay for sewer, water, trash, or if they're going to pay for it. That's the cash flow. Long-term rental is good, because even if you Airbnb it and they're coming out with laws being like, you can't Airbnb here anymore, then if it's not, you'll have to make it to a long-term rental. And if it doesn't cash flow as a long-term rental, it's probably not a good Airbnb thing. No balloon. Balloon means like, hey, we'll pay off your mortgage in X amount of years. We'll balloon it out. Landlord friendly state, just like Jen said, landlord friendly states are usually red states. And on top of that, where the population growth is trending upwards, which is most of those states. It's Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Arkansas, Alabama, for sure. Like down below where it's warm, Arizona. A deal, up to 15% entry fee, balloon of 7 years or more. I will not do a balloon over 7 years. It's under 7 years. I mean, we like to say balloons are for clowns. Interest rate is a 4 to 5%. And then a hard pass, like probably not even going to look at it. There's no comps in the area. Likely it's in the middle of nowhere. The population is a city of below 10,000 people. Entry fee is above 20%. So they need a high cash down. This might be different if there are arrears. Like Rosie, you were saying you had someone with $84,000 in arrears. That might be a different story. But if they're like, we need 50% down, not even going to talk to them. Like, no. And they're not willing to negotiate. Balloon under 5 years, a negative cash flow. So negative cash flow can be okay if it's a low interest rate with no balloon, because people will buy deals just for tax write-offs. Even if they have to pay $100 a month for it. If it's California, California sucks. So does Washington. I live in Washington, so I can say that. California and Washington and Oregon are really not great with landlord-friendly laws. There's a guy in Seattle right now that rented his house out to a long-term renter who is now not leaving and renting it out on Airbnb for double what he pays for it. And the owner can't get them out because it's such a tenant-friendly state. The tenant has more rights than the owner, and it's not good for business. Also, they have very high tax rates. If there's no motivation, lots of offers. I'm seeing people put in here. That's another one. People putting in listings that are like been on market for 13 days. And they're like, why are you putting this in here? Why did you pick this? And I was like, I don't know why they submitted this. Honestly, she's like, we have a lot of offers. It's only been on market for 13 days. Like these people that we're going for, we have you guys look at like 90 or 60 plus 90 days on market, because why? The market has told you no. They're not selling it traditionally. So we don't want to be plan A, B, or C. We want to be plan Z. We want to be your last option, because the way that we do it is not everyone's first option. There usually has to be a lot of pain. And then they need more than 10% down or payment out of the property. So those are like the meh deals. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys before you turn them into us. Any questions on that? Anything you want to add, Jen? Let's see. Jane says, even if a seller agrees to seller carry for 10 years with no interest, do we go for the ARV today? Would you pay more? If more, how much? So it's just different for everybody. So like if they would go 0 interest for 10 years, that might be something we'll look at. But if they want 20% down or something, that's not something as much because we still need to find a buyer for it. And we need to get paid and you need to get paid. 0 down, that would be great. 0 down, 0 interest, Jane, submit that right yesterday. Yes. So you asked, do we go for the ARV today? Yes, we go up based off of today's value. So let's say that their house on market would be worth 360,000 today, then we would pay for it the price today. Yeah. $1 million property. So that's another thing. Maybe we can go back to basics. So $1 million property depends where it is. $1 million property in LA is different than $1 million property in South Carolina or Texas even. They're 2 different markets. So $1 million property, it depends on the market. We tell you guys when you're searching for criteria, and maybe I can share my screen and we can go over this. You want to go for the average home sales price. So just Google, like, let's say it's in Ohio. Average sales price for 2023 is what? Go $200,000 over that. And then that's the place where you want to pick, because the more average the price is, the more buyers you're going to have for that. So where is yours, Jane? Austin, Texas. So Texas, Austin's a crazy market because the value is declining. All like Tesla moved there. I think all these big tech companies moved to Texas because it's more business friendly out of California. Austin is a hot up and coming place. People were paying out the yin yang for things. They had the tech people there who had all the money. So all the property got overvalued. And right now it's like falling 8% per year. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It might be a good thing. So, we could take a look at it too, if you just want to submit it, and what we do is we go in there and we'll give you feedback via text or email and be like, here's us calling the property owner and this is what we talked about and blah, 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 blah. So we'll give you feedback on your stuff too. Larissa says, can you add PITI with definition for the problem? So PITI stands for principal, taxes, insurance. I hate when that happens. And
Principal, interest, taxes, insurance.
what's the other P?
Principal, interest, taxes, insurance.
There's one more P.
Principal, interest, taxes, insurance. There's only one P.
Oh, that's right.
One
I
P,
mean-
2 I's.
P. Well, that's where I was confused. Might as well just talk about Rappaport now too. Thank you. It is a Monday. Someone has a case of Mondays. Are you guys sure you want me teaching you? I can't figure out. I'm like, there's another P. There's 2 I's. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Thank God for Jen. Keeping me on track. I swear I know stuff, you guys. So yeah, so that's what it is. And that's what goes into a mortgage payment. When you guys are looking at Privy or PropStream or any of those other things, if you're looking at the payment, that only includes principal insurance. So that's what the bank is getting. It does not include taxes and interest, or excuse me, it's principal and interest, doesn't include taxes and insurance because those are variables. So does that answer your question, Larissa? So that's what your mortgage payment is. So when you ask them, and if you guys want to be like superstars and you talk to these agents and they're like, yeah, we're open to it, be like, awesome. Can I also get a copy of the most recent mortgage statement? Because that's going to help us in underwriting. So, yes. How many people are new here? I'm trying to gauge how new you guys are and who's older about what we'll talk about. So we have 3 new people: Larissa, Rosie, Amber. So we have quite a few. Do we want to go? Okay, we have quite a few new people. Thank you, Christina, for understanding. So what we can do is we can go over, Dustin is a long time. He's a seasoned, he is not a baby elephant. He's a teenager elephant. He's been here for a minute. He submits lots of deals. Dustin is really good at finding deals. Do you want to go over and show us how you pick your market and like how you find your deals?
Yeah, I can do that.
I'll bring you to the forefront and give you screen
Okay.
sharing. I've just been talking a lot and I don't want to hear myself talk anymore.
No, totally.
I'd rather you hear you talk.
I'll do the screen share. And then I already pulled up my Privy. I had it already rolling, but
Awesome. So
I've been working Texas. The reason I chose Texas is because it has a huge amount of people that are moving there. And as Carly already mentioned, there's a lot of industry and things that have moved there and a lot of new money. So there's a lot of people that are moving there. They have nice warm weather. Houston's a little bit close to the ocean here, but most of it is pretty decent. They don't have the hurricanes and stuff like Florida has a lot all the time. So I looked in that market, and I'm in Iowa, so it's directly south of me. So it was an area of the country I felt pretty comfortable with and had a lot of activity. I've already filtered this. So when you get on Privy, it'll start zoomed out and there'll be little bubbles all over. And those just show you where people, investor activity is. The higher the number is, the more deals or more business that's being done. So you definitely want to go to a place that has high numbers. There's places, well, zoom out. Up north by me a little bit. I'm right about here, but if you look over at Sioux City in this area, there's like absolutely nothing. So you don't want to be looking there. Kansas City, St. Louis, kind of the bigger places that people have heard about. And then the warmer weather states are really, really favorable. But there's also places like Kansas City and St. Louis and Cleveland and places like that that are bigger, where you will find some decent deals. So I just zoom into, I did Fort Worth, Dallas for a while, but I've kind of moved on to Houston and been working there. So then if you go into the filters, I always do it's doing nationwide. I don't want that. I do the including surrounded areas, single family on market. I haven't really started breaking into the multifamily, but that's coming soon. And then here at the price point, if you check the median price, it says it's like 300 something, but that's relatively new because the market's been changing. So they're really around like 225, 250. So I went up to 400 on that. And then days on market here, I put 90. And I really don't want to look at anything less than that. That way I know that they're starting to feel some pain and the market's telling them their price isn't going to work, or there's something on the property that needs fixed, so they won't qualify for a conventional loan. So then that really opens them up to some other options. And then when you hit the run search, it will knock out all the ones that, won't work, higher priced or been on market less. So then you just go in, you can zoom in a little bit, and then click on the bubbles will get smaller per, neighborhood. And then you just click on one. And then it'll pop up the different homes here. and then you can scroll through these. If you work with Privy quite a bit, you start to get, with like anything, more time you use it, the more comfortable you'll get. But there's little icons that can tell you real quick if it's a corporate owned or if it's a cash purchase or if the family's been there for more than 20 years. This one looks like new construction. It has the year built here. One of the things we look for is not like ancient homes, usually like nothing that's like 1910 or 1900. A lot of times those they can be remodeled, but the wiring and the guts of the place can like be left. So you really aren't able to see. So anything that's like 1950 and 1960, they really changed the way they built, and the enforcement code was really upgraded, and they did a really good job with it. So we've kind of stuck with the 1960s style code since then. So anything around like 1938, I might take a look at it, but this looks like it's corporate owned, the little building here. So you could click on that and then look at it and see like kind of what shape it's in. This one is Privy doesn't always have the MLS data. So sometimes you'll have to go down and click here, and that'll take you to like Redfin or Zillow. And that way you can see the updated pictures. But this one's a little bit older, so I'm not really going to spend a lot of time looking at it. This is usually brand new. So when they have the blueprint plans like this, it's usually brand new. This is a 2022, so it may be a sub 2 option. It could be low equity. I'll leave you guys over here, but yeah, when you scroll down, they have whichever house you pick. You want to go through this really quick and just kind of give it a read, because if they have something listed here and then you ask the agents about it, they tend to get pretty upset. So they think you're calling from a list or you haven't really looked at it. So I usually give this a quick read. And recently built, so this may not even have sold. It looks like there's furnishings. Sometimes they'll have a 2022 that never sold, and it's like the actual builder who's still trying to sell it in some of these neighborhoods. Solar is usually not a good deal. I know some people like it, but it seems like it drags the market value down. And as you scroll down through here, it kind of gives you the regular data about it. You can see if there's HOA usually and what the fees are.
And that's a good thing to ask. Let's talk about HOAs. Oh, your internet went out.
Mine?
Yeah, you're back now. You paused for a minute.
Okay.
HOAs stand for homeowner association. Oh, it's my internet. Sorry, I might go away. And so they like to tell you what you can and can't do with your property. So that is not a red flag or a hard pass. It's good if you see HOA. That should be something where you see HOA be like, do you know the rules around short and long-term rentals in this neighborhood? Because sometimes if they're like, no, absolutely not, then it may not be a thing, because everybody that we're selling to, most everybody are going to be investors and not homestead buyers, which means they're going to live there.
And along with the HOAs, I have yet to run into one where long-term rental's not okay. But I do know like really high scale, upper class neighborhoods like gated communities, they will not allow that, but that's probably not going to be in your price range if you're around the median price range. So I know here locally we have gated communities, and like you can't even visit the people. They have security and everything. It's nuts. But that's definitely something I always ask about. Are they aware of it? Because Texas did recently pass a no Airbnb in residential zoned neighborhoods. And there's a lot of investors that are cashing out because they had a ton of Airbnbs. So there's a ton of investors that are trying to move properties there right now. So if you didn't know that, you might think you have a deal, and actually it's not a deal. So that's something to be aware of and to ask about. And then Privy has this super cool deal here where they like already comp it for you. So you can go down and look and see like what a similar house is going for. This is a 2022. And this is kind of what I was telling you, Carly. It's like it's super old, or they've torn it down and it's like brand new, or like super old places. They're redoing it, but it's kind of like spotty. Like this lot probably had a bomber on it. They tore it down and built this new one. So there's really anything to comp here. But I mean, you can kind of get an idea if you have PropStream, or they can look it up for you to see what other houses in the area that are that data.
Don't buy PropStream. We can
Don't
we
buy
can
it,
use
but yeah, they can
Don't-
look for you.
Yeah. I mean, you can if you want, but
But yeah, usually this is a good place to get an idea. Like is it higher priced than it should be? Is it underpriced? If it's underpriced, it probably wouldn't be on the market for so long, but you can really get an idea of like how big the yard is, how many bed, you can look at other places and do a comparison. And then as you go down, you get into the state and actual property history will show you when it was sold last. So there was people who lived in this, and it looks like they bought it in May, and now they're trying to sell. So this could be a possible sub-2 deal here, because they can't have all that much equity into it unless they put a ton down, which you could also check here, the mortgage history. It's a pretty big loan. Like 6.5 looks like, wow, they got all kinds of stuff going on.
yeah.
So the builder got a great loan, did the build on it, and then they turned around and pretty much doubled their money. And these folks got stuck with a 6.5. So you don't know why they're moving. Could be family, could be job, anything like that. But with this kind of a rate, it's a really high interest rate. I mean, that's not a great rate. So something else to look at here, they have tax and assessment. So you can scroll down and see what the yearly taxes are and kind of get an idea, thinking with the end in mind, as if you were the investor. 4,500, roughly going to be $400+ a month for the taxes. So yeah, that's kind of just the rough look real quick. So this one here, I mean, with the 6.5, it's not even worth asking about a sub-2, right? I mean, that's so high.
It could. It's not, I mean, it's not great, but you can also look at like 255. Is that, I mean, they're 8% now. So
Yeah, well,
if you're
right,
looking
right,
for
right.
homestead buyers, it might be. It doesn't hurt to just throw it past them.
Yeah.
There might be buyers.
And here, if you look down at the bottom, it'll have the listing agent listed. So what I like to do is if you just highlight the name and it goes to search, then you can type in, mine popped up right away. HAR in Texas, it's the har.com. We usually have the agent, or you can click up here, like if their name is famous, you can put, and then search it, and then it should pop up something. Usually with HAR, it has this here, and then you just hover over it and it'll list the name down below, or the number down below. And I've always had good luck calling these numbers. It's not always that you get an answer. Sometimes, very rarely, there'll be no number, but usually this number here is good to go. There's also realtor.com, which will have the phone number listed sometimes. And then also a few times I've been able to pull it off Zillow. They usually try to direct you to a buyer's agent on Zillow. But if you do a little investigating and scroll through and check the entire page, sometimes you're able to find the actual listing agent's cell phone. So those are just places that you can look and try to get information when you're trying to contact them. Because there has been a few times where I've really, outside of skip tracing, I've not been able to find a number at all. So it really matters about how you want to manage your time. But yeah, this one here, you would just hit that, get the number and call them and just real quick say, hey, I see this place. Can you tell me what's going on? Is this something where, how long are you getting offers? How long has this been on the market? And then you can say, well, right now we're offering to do seller finance or subject to, it looks like this might work. Is your client open to something like that? And then they usually say, I'll get back to you or something like that. But that's about the gist of it. And that's kind of what I do day in and day out when I'm looking through. A lot of times the older ones, all these that are 90 days on market, like Carly said, they've been sitting on the market for a while. So these people are like ready to sell, they usually it's 4 weeks, they say 3 to 4 weeks. If you're not getting bites, then the listing loses steam. So really within the first 3 to 4 weeks, if they're listening to their agent and it's priced for the market, it should be getting offers or be moving. So on these 90-day and later ones, you're really dealing with people that have some pain and they should be open. But I would say, I don't know, maybe 1 to 5 out of every 20 are open to some kind of terms, or, they're willing to entertain an offer. So it's something where you can submit it and see if there's, if there's something there, if maybe there's some hidden value, maybe it's a really low rate. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it.
Oops, I was muted. That was really good. So that was like a quick overview on that. So he's found, let's go over it. He went to a market where we know it is a landlord friendly state. People are moving there, which is anywhere in Texas, pretty much. It's affordable cost of living. That's a 250. Where I live, you could buy a garage for $255,000. It's a good price for a lot of investors. So it's an average price, which is where we want. It's not a crazy price for that market. People are going there. There's motivation. So there's motivation. Why? Because they have high days on market. How many days was it?
90, at least 90. I always put in.
So three months on market that it's been on market. So this is something, I don't remember how long contracts usually go, but
it's 6 months in Iowa. They get 6 months before they're fired.
Yeah. So they might. So this is some things like when you call them, we want to build rapport. And I did it. If you've been here before, you know that I say rapport like I spell it, like it's spelled. And Jen thought that I was crazy and she was trying not to bust up laughing because I called it Rappaport. That's how I say it in my head. Anyways. So you want to build a rapport and you also don't want to beat around the bullshit bush either. Excuse my French. You want to be like, hey, I'm Carly. I don't like to use the word investor. I like to say, hey, I'm Carly. I buy and sell real estate in the area. Just to set the stage, I don't say to set the stage. To set the stage, I say, I can represent myself. So if you guys are like, don't go out and find a realtor and ask them to take you to places. Like they got to get paid and you're not going to pay. We act as we can do your realtor stuff for you guys. So we will submit offers, negotiate, do all of that stuff. So you say, hey, I will represent myself. I was just looking at your Easy Street listing. Can you tell me a little bit about it? I see it's been on market for 90 days. Shut up. Let them talk. Be like, do you guys have any offers? You want open-ended questions. So find out the 4 pillars. Obviously, do not just ask the 4 pillars just to ask them. Like Dustin said, you want to read the listing. So if it says they're motivated because they moved out of town or something, or it's in great, you don't need to be like, what's the condition? Because you can see that it's in great condition. It was built 2 years ago. But you want to be like, oh, and you don't want to also be like on a 2-year-old house, like what's the condition of the roof? Obviously it's great because it was just built 2 years ago. So you want to really tailor the thing. So for this one, you're not going to ask about the condition or the roof or anything because you know. And you don't want them to, just like he said, like, okay, you ding dongs, like, what are you just calling from a list? Because obviously it's brand new if you would have just looked at the listing. So you want to show that you've looked at the listing. Motivation, why are they selling? Do you have any offers? Would they, and then, so what you guys' one job is to do is just find out if they're open to creative offers. You don't have to pitch creative. You just have to be like, well, what is creative? You could be like, well, like a seller finance situation would be a good example, because when you guys get into sub 2, it's hard to explain if you don't know what you're saying. You could be like mortgage takeover or seller finance, and if you'd be open to it. And that's when you submit to us. You guys don't have to do any pitching on creative. I mean, if you guys get it and you understand it and you want to, then go for it. But don't feel like you have to. But once they feel like they're like, yeah, we would be open to discussing it, then you'd submit to us and we would reach out to them. So yeah, so that is a good high level overview. I think what Jen and I are going to be working on is getting some like free stuff going for you guys, so we don't have to keep going over this. And then we're going to be doing like Q&As and stuff. So if you guys' homework is to go and find possible listings, and then we'll do like calls with you guys. And, or if you're like, I submitted a deal, I want to know where it is, we can go over those. So that's what we're going to focus on going forward. And this Wednesday we won't be here. So going forward, we'll always be Mondays and Wednesdays it may change. Right now we're at 12 p.m. Pacific time. That's 3 p.m. Eastern. For any updates, go to our group, buildinganempire.group. Ruth says, I started a little late. Will you guys still be having these Zoom meetings? Yes, we will. Ruth, go to buildinganempire.group and get into our group. That is where we will make announcements. We'll have replays, all the stuff that we had in Circle. But this Wednesday, we will not be having a meeting. Jen and I are going to be in Phoenix. We'll be out of town. Groupon ? It's
Facebook.
a group, Facebook group. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mario, so we'll go over, I know we have a lot of people. We have 32 people here now, and I had 10 people on when we made these announcements. We'll do it again. So Elephant Challenge is canceled. For those of you guys that don't know, Pace canceled it. That does not mean that we are being canceled. We will still do our groups. It's just not going to be supported by Pace. And Pace isn't going to come on and do this every other month and every month and do his challenges. Some of the leaders are still going to be doing theirs. I don't know which ones are. I know for sure Angie and them will be on theirs. But we will be here. Thank you guys for putting the stuff in there. I don't know how you managed to get in here either, Jane. So the way you get in here, Jane, go to buildinganempire.group, ask to join the group. We will post every Monday and Wednesday. It's the same group. It's the same link every time. I'll put the link in here for you guys. If you guys want to bookmark it and put it on your calendar, it's going to be always the same. That's our link every Monday and Wednesday, except this Wednesday at 12 p.m. It can change. It may change. So go into the group. What happened to the Elephant Challenge? Pace killed it. Go into the Elephant in the Facebook group, Pace's Facebook group. We made an announcement on it. It just got too much for us to handle. So Elephant Challenge is canceled, but Jen and I are not canceling our groups. So we'll still be doing this. We'll still be doing things for you guys. We might do things a little bit different, so we don't have to go over what Dustin just went over every single time. We'll have you guys watch videos on that. And then these meetings are going to be for action takers. We're all going to take action together. We'll help you get your first deal. Jen is doing multifamily. She is the multifamily genius among us. I'm doing single family. So if you guys submit multifamily deals to elephant.aurorainvests.com, that's where you'll submit stuff to us. Jen will take the multifamily. I'll do the single family. We're both kind of moving into multifamily. We want to do funds and stuff. So you'll see us going that direction. We will still JV with you guys on single family, and that's not going away, but we're moving our business, like the bulk of our business, towards multifamily. anyways. And then I'll also give you guys this, what we just went over at the beginning of the deal of the group is what's a deal, what's not a deal. And then there's also a hyperlink there for you guys to submit to the deals. I'll put all of this information in our group. And I'll also put the replay so you guys can get caught up. So, can you find multifamily in Privy too, Jen? I don't know. I think you can. I don't think
Yeah,
it's,
I
it's
would-
mostly single family. It's not a no, but it's not like the number one place to go either.
Yeah, and like when you're dealing with multifamily too, it's a much more like normal conversation about creative financing. It happens all the time. Where do you look for multifamily? It's still direct to agent or direct to broker, so you can still go onto LoopNet, Realtor.com, all those sort of sites. It's exactly the
Crexi.
same. What's that?
Crexi is one.
Yeah, anything you were doing for single family, you can do for multifamily. And there's just more Crexi is what she said. Crexi?
Yeah, CREXI.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have to pay for that one. Yeah. And we'll put all this information in, we'll do recaps of what we talked about and links that we gave you guys. So join the group and we'll put all that information there. So, all right, guys, thanks for coming. I'm glad we had a pretty good turnout. Even though the elephant challenge has gone defunct. So we'll still be around. Go join elephantchallenge.group or group, blah, 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 elephant.
Building an
can't talk.
empire.
Thank
dot
you.
group. No
Build-
worries.
Building an empire.group. That's where you'll go to communicate with us. We're both in there, and thank you guys for coming. Do you have anything else before we go, Jen?
No.
All right. Thanks, guys, for coming. Oh, Larissa, you're so sweet. We'll see you guys next Monday.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, tag us in the group. We'll be there. All right.